the class. And for those joining, I'll just let you know that we might use a block this morning or we may not. So we're going to begin lying down. So go ahead and make your way over onto your mats and lie yourself back. And we're going to take some time now to bring our awareness to what we're feeling in the present moment. And sometimes people talk about listening to your body, and listening to the body is one way to think about it. But I really like to emphasize feeling your body. So rather than sort of a passive experience of listening, you're diving deeper into the actual feeling what you're feeling. Because listening is something we kind of do up in our heads, right? And what we want to do in our yoga practice, it's this opportunity to really come into our bodies. It's a practice of embodiment. And every day we hear more and more about the struggles people are having emotionally, mentally. And I think this practice of being in our bodies, it's proven that it can help to address feelings of anxiety and stress. So we come into our bodies and we have this sensory experience of feeling our feet on the floor, feeling our clothing on our skin, feeling the feeling of our skin, feeling the temperature. Just recognizing where you are in space, on the floor, in whatever room you're in this moment. And as you're feeling your body, as you're lying back, your body is probably relaxing. Just notice if you're holding tension anywhere. Maybe you tend to clench your jaw or furrow your brow, or maybe you hold a lot of tension in the area around the heart or in the belly. So just invite those areas now to release and soften a bit, to relax, open. Perhaps consider softening the roof of your mouth, softening and broadening your palate. And just observe how that feels. And let's take some time now to dive into the feeling of our breathing. Feeling our in-breath and feeling our out-breath. And beginning to deepen both of them, letting the in-breath become more full and expansive, expanding into the front of the chest, the sides of the ribs, the back body. And then feeling the sensation of the breath emptying out, giving it whatever time it takes for the breath to fully release. So deep, expansive breath moving in, expanding up and out. And then nice, slow, full emptying of breath out. We might breathe in through the nose if we can to moisten the breath. And then that exhalation can be through the nose, or you can sigh it out or blow it out or ha it out, whatever feels right for you. Take a couple more of these very deep, expansive breaths, just focusing on how it feels. And after the next time your breath empties all the way out, just begin to transition to your more natural breath rhythm. But we'll spend a little time seeing if we can continue to focus our awareness on our breathing, even when we're breathing more naturally. And when our mind starts to wander and think about something else, we'll practice kindly, gently bringing our focus back to just our natural breath. Our minds like to wander and think, it's natural, but we're practicing mindfulness, paying attention to one thing, just our breath. So now I invite you to take a moment and recognize and acknowledge how you're feeling this morning. Physically, what's going on with your body, any aches or pains or injuries that you should be aware of. Notice how you're feeling mentally and emotionally this morning. And this is our opportunity to set an intention that might guide us through this next hour, or it might be something we want to focus on for the whole day. Based on this awareness of how we're feeling, what would be a good thing for you today to focus on, to invite in or cultivate? Take this opportunity, connect with that one thing that might support you today, and breathe it in. And consider just coming back to that throughout your practice this morning. And if you're not finding one thing that's calling you, the default is always love and compassion. You can always breathe that in. So now, as we're ready, we can go ahead and open our eyes. And I always start with something under my head. If you had something there, you might set it aside. I want you to lift your head up and clasp your hands under your head so your hands can support the weight of your head, elbows wide. Take a breath in, and with your exhale, begin to knit your ribs down into your belly to lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Bring things up so that the back of the low ribs are on the floor and maybe your shoulder blades start to come up. And then inhale and release back. Do that again, knit the ribs in and down and curl up head, neck, and shoulders. And then inhale and release back. We'll exhale and curl up again, and let's reach the arms forward so we maybe knit the ribs a little bit more, and then we can release back and breathe. Couple more like that, curling up, knitting and reaching forward, and then lowering back down. Last one like this, we'll curl up and reach forward, and then we'll lower back down. You can have your hands under your head. You can release your head onto the floor. Take your feet off the floor, bring your knees over your hips. We're just going to open the knees apart. Just let them drop open. Maybe get a little stretch along the inner thigh, and then draw your knees back up. So we're opening the knees apart and then bringing them back together. One more time like that, open the knees apart. This time as you bring your knees together, can you curl your hips up a little bit? And then release the hips and let your knees drop open. So we're bringing the knees in and curling the hips up, and then releasing the hips and dropping the knees open. We'll do a couple more like this, bringing the knees in and lifting the hips, and then opening the knees apart. One more like that. And now we're going to add in the head motion with all that. So hold your head a little bit off the floor. Your knees are wide. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to draw the knees in as we curl up, and then we're going to lift the hips. And then we're going to release the hips, drop the knees apart, release the head back. And again, curl up and lift, and then drop back and breathe. Exhale, curl up and lift, and then drop the knees, release the head. Curl up and lift, and release back and breathe. And a few more like that. Keep going. Keep going, curling and lifting and releasing open. So we're working a lot of things here. Upper belly, lower belly, hips, thighs. Let's do a few more like this. Maybe starting to build a little heat here. Let's do 4 more. And curl up. And 3 more. And curl up. And 2 more. And curl up. And last one. Great. All right, release your feet, release your head. Excuse me, roll to your side. So you're facing your device, and you can let your bottom arm support your head. We're going to bend our knees kind of on a right angle. Actually, this bottom arm, we're going to take it out in front of us, and we're going to place hand on top of hand. And then I want you to take this top hand and reach it a little further forward. And then draw that arm back. We're going to take that arm back behind us, open up into a twist and take a breath. And then roll back. Bring that arm forward again, reach it forward, past the bottom arm, and then pull that arm back and reach back behind you and open up and take a breath. Again, come back and reach that arm forward, and then bring the arm back, roll back and open out and breathe. And again, come forward and reach, and come back and open. Now the arm that's behind us, I have to move, I'm too close to my wall. Take that arm behind, sweep it down, and then sweep it forward, and then circle it up and overhead, and then reach it behind you, and then circle that arm down and forward and up and overhead. You can put your bottom arm to support your head now. Reach that arm forward and up and around and back. And then change direction of that arm. Sweep it back behind you, circle it overhead, reach it forward, and again, reach it back behind, up and overhead, and forward, and one more time like that. Circling that arm around. Great. We're going to bring that arm down, and we're going to push our weight up onto our forearm. And we're going to have the knees kind of stacked. I'm going to come back onto my sticky mat here. And with your hand on your top hip, with your elbow right beneath your shoulder, check to see if you're collapsing down and press down to create some space from your shoulder to your ear. And then press the knees and the shins down to lift the hips up and then lower back down. So one option is to just do that, lifting the hips up and lowering the hips down. Next option when you come up is to extend that top leg out and then lower down, bringing the knee down. You can come all the way down each time, or you could just come close to the floor without coming all the way down. So lifting up, and maybe the leg extends, and maybe you come all the way down, maybe you come close to the floor. As the leg extends, you could also lift the arm up if you like. And we'll do a few more of these. Lowering down, and coming up, and reaching out perhaps. Lowering down, and coming up. Let's just do 2 more of these. Bearing some weight on that bottom arm. The next time you come up, could you lift your hips a little higher and take a breath? Great. And then we'll lower ourselves down. All right, we're going to swing our legs around to the other side. And we're going to lower down onto our side, all the way down. And we'll take that bottom arm out in front. We'll take the top hand on top of it. We'll bend the knees 90 degrees. Excuse me. That top arm is going to reach more forward. And then bring that arm back and reach behind you. Open up. You're in a nice lying twist. And then we're going to come back and reach the arm forward. And then we're going to roll back and open out. Breathe. So we're just kind of waking up, loosening up the rib cage here, reaching forward and then reaching back, opening up, And again, reaching forward, reaching back, opening up. Now that arm that's behind, we're gonna swing it down by the hips. We're gonna reach the arm forward. We're gonna reach it overhead. We're gonna circle back and around, let the arm come down, reach it forward, reach it overhead. Couple more times like this. If you wanna support your head in some way, go ahead and do so. And then we're gonna change direction on that circle of the arm. So circle it the other direction. And if it doesn't feel good, just modify the length of your arm or the shape of your circle. And do this a few more times. Just kind of working on nice shoulder mobility here. Great. Okay, we're going to come up onto our bottom forearm now. And the angle of the knees can be a little more open. Place your top hand on your top hip. Make sure you're not collapsing into that bottom shoulder. And then we're going to lift the hips up. And we can lower them all the way down, or as we lift them up, we can just lower them close to the floor. As we lift up, we could also extend a leg. That's an option. We could also reach the arm up if we like. So lots of options here. We're going to inhale as we extend, exhale as we lower. Inhale coming up, exhale, lower down. So we're working the bottom side waist, we're working into the bottom hip, we're building some strength in that bottom shoulder. Let's do 4 more of these. Nice, reaching out, lifting up. Last couple here. And on the last one, as we come up, can we hold? Could we lift a little higher? Take a breath. Nice job. And then come all the way down. Great. Let's come around to all fours. Of course, cushioning your knees if you're on a hard surface, and that would feel nice for you. I like to take a little time kind of moving side to side as I arrive here, ending up with the wrists right under the shoulders, the knees right under the hips, the spine nice and long. We can do a little spinal extension or cow pose here. And we could do a little spinal flexion or cat pose. And you can move your hips or move your head or shoulders a little. We'll do those 2 movements one more time. Any way that feels good for you to loosen things up here. And then we're going to start to come to our flat back. Let's take one leg, probably the leg closer to your device, and press back through the heel. So really feeling that leg turn on as the heel presses firmly back and the toes pull down. Check to see if you dropped your belly as your leg went back and put a little support there. Engage the belly. We're going to lower the toe to the floor and then lift the leg straight back. Lower the toe to the floor and lift the leg straight back. And one more time, lower the toe down and lift the leg up. Now we're going to swing that leg out to the side. So now the side of the foot faces the floor. We're going to lower it down and lift it back up. We're going to lower it down and lift it back up. Couple more. Lower it down and lift it back up. Again, lower it down and lift it up. And then we're going to lower it down so the inner line of the foot is on the floor. It's kind of straight out from the hip. And then you could explore taking your hips back a little bit here. So you might start to feel a nice stretch along the inner line of that leg. You might go back a little bit. You might go back a little further. Some people might sit all the way back on their back heel. That's a bit too far for me. But just kind of enjoy a stretch here if you like, and breathe. And then we'll rock forward and we'll bring that knee back. We're going to do the other leg. I'm going to turn so that I have enough room. You don't necessarily have to turn if you have room. But we're going to take the other leg and press back through the heel. Really strongly, out through the heel, toes pulling down. Check if you let your back arch as you did that and put a little support there. Engage your belly. And then lower the big toe to the floor, lift the leg straight back. Lower the toe to the floor, lift the leg straight back. Couple more, lower the toe down and lift it straight back. Last one, down and up. Then we're going to take that leg out to the side. Foot is flexed. We'll lower the inner foot down and lift it up. Lower that foot down and lift it up. A couple more. Lower it down and lift it up. And lower it down and lift it up. Nice work. Now lower it down. Inner edge of the foot is on the floor. And explore taking your hips back. How does that feel? Maybe you like that stretch. Maybe that's a bit much for your knee. So modify in whatever way supports you. Take a breath here. And then rock forward. Bring that knee back. We're going to sit back into child's pose. So take your weight back onto your heels. Let your weight round over your legs. Let your head be supported by the floor or your arms or your fists. And take a few moments here to check in, connect with your breath. Remind yourself of your focus or your intention this morning. Offer yourself what you're needing. And let your focus be right here, right on what you're experiencing here now. Then with your next inhale, lift your head up and reach your arms way out in front. Let's make our way to downward facing dog. So when we come into down dog, we really want to feel the hands pressing down. Feel your thumbs, your fingers, your knuckles. As your hands provide that solid foundation, you can soften your knees and draw your hips up and back. And as your hips are up and back, let the weight of your head just dangle off of your spine. Shake your head a little yes, a little no. Just circle, do whatever feels good so that you free up your neck. Let's bend the knee and press a heel to the floor. And bend that knee and press the other heel to the floor. Do that again, maybe looking at your feet and noticing, can you get the heels to go straight back rather than angling inward? Then let's bend both our knees a bit, draw the hips way up and back, create a little space across the upper back between the shoulder blades. Take another deep breath in and out. And then walk your hands back towards your feet, lowering your heels down, ending up folded over bent knees. Feel your feet planted. Take a breath into your upper back. Let the breath empty out. And then we'll draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up. Taking some time here to unfurl the spine, stacking those vertebrae. Eventually allowing the head to come up as well. As you root down now, reach your arms out. Inhale and reach your arms overhead. Lift your heart. We're going to exhale and we're going to swan dive. So we're going to go right all the way back to that folded over position. And then we're going to walk our hands forward. We're going to walk all the way forward until we come into plank or push-up position. And as you're here, you could have knees up or you could place your knees down. We're going to take a breath here. As we exhale, let's try a little bend in the elbows. Elbows going back rather than out. We'll take another breath here. And then let's let our knees come down and lower our chest into the floor, coming into prone mountain. Maybe sliding the heels of the hands back to let the chest sink a little closer to the floor, just hovering our nose right off the floor. Toes reach back as we lengthen through the crown of the head. We'll inhale up to baby cobra. Just pulling the heart forward and just coming up high enough that you could still lift your hands off the floor. Let's do that. We'll lift the elbows and hug the elbows in, waking up the upper back here, and then release the hands, release the chest. Let's inhale up to baby cobra again, and we might stay here or we might press down and come up a bit higher to cobra. And then we'll lower back down. We'll do that one more time. Again, you might choose to come up to baby cobra, or you might come up a little higher. But think about length, and then lower back down. Now let's push back to knees, take your hips back. We're not going all the way to child's pose. We're just taking the hips back, and then we're going to rock forward, and we're going to lower the chest down. We're going to do a few of these. These are kind of like push-ups, and your hands are in close. So it's like your body is sliding along the inner line of your arms. So they're like tricep push-ups. You're lowering your chest down, and then you're pushing yourself up, taking the hips back. Can we do a couple more of these? Bringing the hips forward and lowering down, and then pushing back up and taking the hips back. One more time like this, bringing the hips forward and lowering down, pushing back up and taking the hips back. All right, let's walk back. We'll give our wrists a little break. We'll sit back now into child's pose again and take a breath here. Then with our next inhale, we'll lift our heads up, reach our arms out, and make our way to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And again, we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down. From here, we're going to bend the knees and lower the hips. Bumping into my plant here. And then sweep the arms forward, sitting low in the chair, arms out in front. Could we lift our arms up alongside the ears? We'll take a breath in and out here. And then push down to rise up, reach up, stretch up, and exhale, arms down at your side. Great. We're gonna do that one more time. Just gotta get away from my plant here. And so we're at the back of our mat. We're gonna inhale and reach up. Exhale and swan dive forward. We'll walk our hands forward into plank position. We'll take a breath here. Exhale, little bend in the elbows. Take another breath. Exhale all the way down, prone mountain. We'll inhale up to baby cobra or cobra and exhale back down. And we'll make our way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. All right, we're going to transition to a right foot forward lunge. So you could drop to your knees and step your right foot out in front, or lift your right leg up and bend the knee, hug it in, and step forward into lunge. So we make our way into this right foot forward lunge. Feet are hip distance apart. Could we let the hips lower down a bit here? Really feel that front foot planted now. And let's bring our forearms onto our front leg. So this is externally supported lunge. We can get nice and long from heel to crown. And then we're just going to change it by bringing hands to heart. So you can always go back to where we were, or you can be progressing to hands to heart. And we're going to try a twist. So we're going to twist in the direction of the front leg. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, twist to the right. Hands could stay to heart, or that elbow could go to the outside of the knee to twist a little deeper. Take a breath in and out here. And then begin to unwind. We'll bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. You could drop to knees and then go back, or just even stay on your knees and switch if you like. We're going to switch to the other leg forward. So you might kneel and step, or lift the left leg up, draw the knee in, look forward and step through to lunge. We're all making our way into this left foot forward lunge. Can we lower the hips a bit? And then bring the forearms onto the front thigh. See if you can find length, heel to crown. And then bring your hands to heart. Take a breath here. Exhale and twist to the left now. Hands could stay to heart or elbow to the outside of the knee. Deepen that twist. Take a breath in. Let the breath go. Unwind yourself. Bring your hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. Nice. Breathe in and out here. Now you could stay here or take a break on your knees, or we could flow again into straight arm plank. Find a little bend in the elbows and then lowering all the way down. Inhaling up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhaling back down. And then making our way up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then looking forward, let's walk our feet up toward our hands and plant our feet beneath us. Let's have our feet hip distance apart. And again, we're going to bend the knees and lower the hips and bring our hands to heart. Well, I want you now to take a big step back with your left foot. So we're in that same lunge position. We just got here a little differently. And then we're going to push the front foot down, straighten the front leg, and rise up. And we can place our hands on our hips now. So let's bend the front knee forward and then straighten the front leg. We're going to bend the front knee forward and straighten. So the knee and shin go forward, and then we push that front foot down to straighten the leg. Bend the front knee forward, push down to straighten. All right, let's drop our arms to our side, and we're going to press the hands back. And depending on your shoulders, you might just want to press your hands back, or we might clasp our hands behind the back and slide them down. Let's try to create a little space across the front of the chest, but not necessarily squeezing the shoulders all the way in. Keep a little space between the shoulder blades as well. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, bend your front knee. Take another breath in here. And as you exhale, hinge forward toward a flat back. And then reach back with your arms, either your palms to the ceiling or your hands clasped, and maybe your arms can reach up. Some of us the arms might go real high. Some of us may not go as high. Some of us might just be reaching up with our unclasped hands. We'll take a breath here and then just reach back, rise up, and we'll straighten that front leg. All right, release your arms. We're going to bend the front knee. Bring your hands to heart. We're just going to step the back foot in. So we're sitting in that low chair again, and we're going to take a big step back with the other foot. Again, we want feet hip distance apart, back heel lifted, and then can we straighten the front leg, straighten up, bring our hands to hips. We're going to bend the front knee forward, push the foot down to straighten. Bend the front knee forward, push the foot down to straighten. Again, bend and straighten. Back heel is pressing back the whole time. Bend and straighten. Great. Now we're going to bend the front knee and keep it bent. We'll drop the arms down. Same thing. You can just press back with your hands, or you might clasp your hands. You might change your clasp to make it a little different than the last time. Slide your arms down, straighten yourself up, broaden across the shoulders without closing off the back body. Take a breath here. Exhale and hinge forward toward a flat back. Reach back with your arms. Maybe start to lift your arms up toward the ceiling. Your head could drop down here, or your unclasped hands could reach up as well. Take a breath here, and then reach your arms back. Start to bring yourself up. Straighten yourself up without falling over. Great. All right. Let's bend the front knee, bring our hands to heart, lean forward, step the back foot in, sitting back in your low chair. Again, we're going to reach our arms forward and then reach them up. Take a breath in and out, and then push down to rise up, reach up, and exhale, arms down. Good job. All right, let's come into a wide stance. And we're going to turn the right foot in. We're going to turn the left foot out. Get a nice big distance between your legs. Have that angle of the back foot. Feel that back foot pressing down, this leg active here, as the front knee bends and as the front knee straightens. So do that a few times, bending and straightening. Feel that front foot really solidly planted. Let's bend the front knee now. And we're going to lift that heel a little bit off the floor and feel as though we're pulling that heel back toward the midline. So the energy of the heel is pulling back. The underline of the leg is working. We're working into the pelvic floor. Take a breath here. And then let that heel relax down. Great. Now we're going to tip the hips over and place our front forearm on that front thigh. The other arm, let's bring it forward, and we're going to sweep it overhead. Thumb is up, pinky is down, arm is rolled down, but then we're going to roll the belly and chest towards the ceiling or towards your device. Press that back foot down, reach long through that arm and take a breath. And then sweep that arm down in front, reach it behind you, inhale and rise up to Frog Warrior. Get nice and broad and open here, radiating out from your center. Let your spine be nice and upright as you take a breath in. With your exhale, let the back hand drop on the back leg. Turn the front palm up and inhale that arm up towards the sky. Exhale that arm all the way back down. We'll straighten the front leg. We'll turn the feet forward, and we'll do that whole thing on the other side. So we're going to turn this back foot in, turn the right foot out. Get that back foot planted, press it down, and then bend your front knee and straighten it. Do that a few more times. Feel your feet connected to the floor. Feel the movement of your hips. And then the next time the front knee is bent, pause there. We're going to, again, lift that front heel up just a little bit and feel as though you're drawing that heel back. So it's not actually moving, but the energy of the heel is pulling back. Lots of action in that leg. Take a breath. And then let the heel come down. And then we'll tip the hips over, bringing this bottom arm on this bottom leg. We'll take the other arm forward. Let's sweep it overhead, thumb up, pinky down, and then roll the belly and chest under that arm. Press the back foot down, reach long with that top arm, take a breath. Sweep that arm down, reach it behind, inhale and rise up. Nice and open, wide, expanding outward. Take one more big breath. As that breath empties, back hand drops on the back leg, front palm turns up. Inhale, reach up and back. And then exhale that arm down. Great. Straighten that front leg, turn your feet forward. Let's make little fists with our hands and place those fists on the low back. We're going to let the hips come forward, lift the heart, draw the elbows in. Big breath here. As you exhale, come back upright, start to hinge forward. Your knees can soften here. Take your hands and start to slide them down your legs and continue to hinge all the way over, letting your head drop down. Your knees can be soft. Your head is relaxed or dangling. You could keep soft knees. You could bring your hands to the floor. You could try stretching your hips up, stretching into the back of the legs, drawing your head in and down if you like, or just passively hanging out here. Take another breath in and out. Then let's bring our hands to our hips. Push down into the feet and legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice long spine. Breath in and out here. And with your next inhale, press down and come all the way up. Great. We can heel and toe our feet together or just jump our feet together. And we're just going to do a little balance work here. So this is where we might grab one block and but we're not going to use block for the first part of this. But if you have a block or a book or something nearby, put it in your hand. I want you to stand with one foot on your mat and one foot off your mat. And then the foot that's not on your mat, point your toe. And then take that toe, pointed toe out to the side, and then take it behind you and bend your standing leg. So we're going to swing the leg out to the side, straighten the standing leg as it comes forward. So we're sweeping it out and behind, bending the standing leg, sweeping it out and forward. We can do that with the toe grazing the floor, or you could try it with your toe off the floor. So we're just coming around and back, bending the standing leg, and around and forward. One more time, around and back, bend the standing leg, around and forward. Okay, let's do the other side. We really didn't need the block yet, but we'll be using it in a minute. So stand with one foot on your mat, one foot on the floor, point your toe, and slide it out to the side. As it goes behind, bend your standing leg, and then sweep it out to the side and bring it forward. We can do that with the toe on the floor. We can do it with the toe off the floor. So we're working on balance and strength, of course, here. Ankle mobility, strengthening the leg, the hip. So maybe we'll do that one more time. Great. Okay, we're going to go back to that first leg, and you could be standing anywhere for this one. You don't have to have one foot on and one foot off. But the first leg that we worked with, we're going to put our weight on that foot. We're going to take the other leg and swing it behind us. We're going to hinge forward. The block is in the same hand. And we're going to see if we can touch the block to the floor and then come back up. Okay? So we're standing on the first leg. We're swinging the other leg back. We're hinging forward. We're going to try and touch the block down. And then, even more challenging part, come back up. This is to really work the strength in the standing leg hip. Maybe one or two more times. Hinging forward, touching the block, and then coming back up. Maybe one more time. Leg goes back. We hinge forward, touch the block, and then we come back up. All right. Good thing we have two legs. Let's do the other leg. So you put the block in the same hand as the leg that's swinging back. Balancing on the other leg, we hinge forward, we touch the block, and then we come back up. And again, hinge forward, touch the block, and come back up. Two more. Hinge forward, touch the block, and come back up. Last one. Hinge forward, touch the block, and then come back up. Great job. All right, let's make our way all the way down. And actually, let's put the block down, and we're going to sit on the block. So set the block down the wide way and make your way down so that you're sitting on the block. Because I always find it's nice to sit on a block because it helps us to feel our sitting bones. So once you've got your sitting bones on the block, and if it's not great to cross your legs could be straight, or one leg could be straight. And if it's not comfortable sitting on the block, you could sit on a chair, you could sit on the floor. So root your sitting bones down, and as your roots go down, can you feel your spine's ability to sit up nice and tall? That way of straightening up, rather than pulling ourselves up, our way of grounding down to rise up, creates so much greater ease in the spine, in the neck, in the jaw. So feel this line of your spine. We're going to spiral around it. We're going to take the right hand behind. We're going to take the left hand across. And the hips are going to want to turn with us, but can you keep your navel forward? As your arm comes across, bring your navel back to face forward. So root down, feel your length of your spine, the line of your spine, breathe in. And then can we spiral around the line of the spine, spiraling the ribs, the chest, and the shoulders around. But the navel, we're keeping drawing it back so that it's facing forward. So we don't twist the lower back. We twist the mid back, the upper back, the head and neck. And then let's take a few deep breaths in and out. Let that breath really expand into the lungs, into the ribs. And then you can sigh it out or ha it out if you like. One more time. Deep, expansive breath in. And a nice full emptying of breath. And then we'll unwind back to center. Again, we're going to root down to rise up. We'll take the left hand behind. Excuse me, the right hand comes across. And if your hips have started to turn, bring your navel back to face forward. Root down, feel the line of your spine as you breathe in, and then just spiral around your ribs, your chest, your shoulders, your head. See if your navel has twisted and bring it back to face forward. And then as you're here, deep breaths. Feel the breath expanding. It's a little challenging because you're twisted to move the breath around. And then that exhale, it just wants to go. Let it out. Let it release all the way. Do that for a few more rounds of breath. Feel where it's moving. Feel how it feels when you let it empty all the way out. Perhaps your twist deepens a little bit at the bottom of your exhale. One more time, in and out. And then unwind yourself. Great job. All right, we'll come off of our block. And let's make our way to lying down on our backs. We're going to set up for bridge pose here. So have your heels in fairly close to your bum, your feet hip distance apart, your arms at your side. So when we do bridge pose, we don't want to lift up into a bridge and have our head turned to the side. So if you want to see what I'm doing with your head turned, that's fine. And then do it with your head facing forward or just listen to my voice. So feel your low back on the floor. Let's start to peel up. So we're going to peel the tailbone up and then peel the sacrum up. And then see if you can start to peel your lower vertebrae. So there's 5 lumbar vertebrae. You can do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you get to the base of where your ribs attach, where your thoracic spine begins. We're only going to go that far, and we're going to roll back down. Trying to release those lower vertebrae individually. And then let your sacrum come down, and then let your tailbone relax. Imagine you have a long tail that just rolls out on the floor. Release your tail, take a breath, and then start the same way. Start to lift your tailbone, lift your sacrum, lift those lower vertebrae very incrementally. Come to the place where your low ribs are on the floor and your low back is off the floor. And again, roll out incrementally, slowly, gradually. You might feel the sensation of that sacrum on the floor, and then you can feel your tailbone rolling out. This time we'll start the same way, lifting the tailbone, lifting the sacrum, rolling up those lower vertebrae. And then when you get to the bottom of your low ribs, continue to lift up. Start to press your feet down, start to let your shins go forward. Keep lifting higher and higher until the weight comes onto your shoulders. Your hips are nice and high. Knees and shins are pressing forward. Take a breath at the top. And then release slowly, gradually, incrementally. Taking your time. Imagining like one pearl being laid down on a surface at a time, and then the next pearl, and then the next pearl. Giving that spine a chance to articulate, and become more mobile. Eventually, we'll make our way all the way down and relax. We're going to do one more of these. Just a nice, slow, gradual, incremental lifting up. Pressing the feet down, knees and shins pressing forward, hips lifting up. This time when you come up as high as you want to go, could you lift your heels up to maybe come a little higher? And could you keep everything at this height as you slowly, gradually lower your heels down? So it's like your shins have to get longer almost. If you can do it, lower your heels down, take a breath. And then again, start to slowly, gradually, incrementally unfurl your spine, one vertebra at a time. Yeah. Just trying to maintain mobility in our spine. This gift of our spine that allows us to move in so many ways. We're caring for it now. Once you've let yourself come all the way down, you can take your feet off the floor and hug your knees in. Give them a hug. You might sway a little bit side to side. Do whatever feels nice here now as you breathe in and out. Yeah. With your knees hugged in now, let's just lift the legs up in the air and just like flex and point your feet or circle at the ankles. If there's one more movement you feel like offering yourself now, you can go ahead and do so. You might want to take your knees wide or, I don't know, any old thing that might feel good here. Take another breath. And then we're going to start to transition to our final relaxation. So I invite you to take a moment to set yourself up to be really nice and comfortable. You might put a pillow under your head or something under your knees, or you might need to put on another layer of clothing so that you're not chilly. So take the time to set yourself up so that you can feel nice and relaxed when you lie back. If you lie back with your legs straight and your low back bothers you, the first thing to do is put a support under your head. And the next thing is to put a little support under your knees so that your back is supported, so that you can actually relax. So once you've found your way into a comfortable lying down position, this is our chance now to just allow this process of relaxation to unfold. This is a familiar ritual of our yoga practice. This time at the end of our practice that we set aside as an opportunity for our bodies to experience relaxation. The way it feels when we're not doing other things, right? So much of our day is about doing things. And this part of our day is about not doing things. Just allowing ourselves to drop into a state of being completely as we are. Nothing we have to do now. The body is wise and it recognizes that it's not being told to do work now. And its natural response is to relax. So just let that happen. Some habits of ours are to hold certain areas of our bodies tightly. So they might need gentle encouragement to soften, to release, to unclench, to relax, and let go. Sometimes the body relaxes readily, but the muscles in the face hold on, clenching, gripping. Can you let those areas soften, smooth, relax and release? And just rest here. I'm going to share one of my favorite readings. You've probably heard it before, from Dana Falls. She says, "This is what I have to say to you. Do not let the day slip through your fingers, but live it fully now, this breath, this glimpse of newly risen sun catapulting you into full awareness. Time is precious. Minutes disappearing like water into sand unless you choose to pay attention. Since you do not know the number of your days, treat each as if it is your last. Be that compassionate with yourself, that open and loving to others, that determined to give what is yours to give, and to let in the energy and wonder of this world. If you are tempted by complacency to miss the gift of twin fawns in the yard or a towhee scratching at the feeder, choose to be awake instead. Experience everything: writing, relating, eating, doing all the necessary little tasks of life as if for the first time, pushing nothing aside as unimportant. You have received these same instructions many times before. This time, take them into your soul, for if you choose to live this way, you will be rich beyond measure, grateful beyond words, and the day of your death will arrive with no regrets. So you have options now. You can keep lying back, enjoying your relaxation. You might have already started to transition up to sitting, and you might choose to start that process now. And you can take your time, and if you make your way to sitting and you want to take a few moments to close out your practice with some reflection or gratitude, you can do that as well. I'm so grateful for this practice and this chance to practice with you. Peace.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Shirley. Thanks for being here. Great day.
Yeah, I'm smiling today.